Hey, I'm golf broadcaster Matt Adams. The updated and expanded second edition of my book, The Golf Round I'll Never Forget, Golf's Biggest Stars Recall Their Finest Moments, is now available. Readers can expect to march with Arnie's Army at the 1960 U.S. Open, relive Jack Nicklaus's remarkable 1986 Masters win, and be amazed by the Tiger Slam. The Golf Round I'll Never Forget, Golf's Biggest Stars Recall Their Finest Moments. Pick it up where fine books are sold, including BarnesandNoble.com and Amazon.com.
And we'd like to welcome everybody back to the Football's Family Podcast. And there are many times on this show that I get to nerd out. This is one of those moments. And I'm going to let the guy introduce himself here in a minute, my guest. And we're going to talk about how I got to meet him. Weirdest place I got to meet him. Would you like to introduce yourself?
My name is Brian Kimbrow, former Vanderbilt University running back from 2012 to 2015.
See, now this is the thing that you never know. You never know where you're going to meet people. I want to say, Brian, that I met you the Monday after the Commodores beat Alcorn State, if I remember correctly, at the Men's Warehouse in Nashville. Of all places to meet somebody that played for Vanderbilt at the Men's Warehouse in Nashville.
Yeah, I know that was interesting, man. You know, we was just having a conversation about Vanderbilt, and it's like, oh yeah, and I told you, yeah, I played there, and it's like I looked familiar, so it was kind of one of those things. Kind of cool at the same time, you know. Sometimes you just stay relaxed about everything, and you just let things be what they are, you know.
Yeah, that's the funny part about it is that you. If you don't open, COVID has really messed us up, Brian. It's like you don't want to get to know people anymore. You keep arm's length from people. But every now and then you came walking in, it's like, I know who he is, but my recollection is gone. And then he's like, oh, I know exactly who he is. I went outside to my truck and I was like, you know what, Jeremy, go in there and see if he wants to be on this podcast because you're going to benefit from it, not just for getting to meet him, but also get to talk to him. I've read some of your high school and your college. I remember you playing. You played with James Franklin.
Mm-hmm.
Did you play with Derek Mason too?
Yeah, I played with him for a semester.
The James Franklin one is interesting to me. But your high school career, you were okay, weren't you?
I was decent. I did pretty well for myself to be a little guy.
Well, okay, all right. No, hold on. Silly thing. Little guy, my goodness gracious. You are, let me see, let me pull this up here. In high school, and listen to this, he's being modest. That's who I think I believe you're a modest guy, but as a senior from you're a 3-year starting running back. This is from VUCommodores.com. Brian, I gotta give credit. You know.
Yeah.
You rushed as a senior for 1,969 yards, 21 touchdowns on 187 carries with 2,186 all-purpose yards. Now that's incredible. Can you walk us through your senior year there? What high school did you go to in Memphis?
I went to Memphis East High School.
Okay.
For me, I would say in high school, more importantly, I had great coaches. I had a great head coach, Marcus Wimberly. He won 3 national championships at the University of Miami. So a lot of the things that I have and as an athlete in my career, I kind of get it from him. Just the ability to always put in the work, no matter what you do, you know.
What was your 40? Do you remember your 40?
I ran a 4.24.
Okay, so
wasn't actually the fastest I've ever been clocked at.
4.24, and he's grinning like it's no big deal. For me, you can get my 40 on with a sundial, right? I think when in high school, I wanted to see how fast I was going, and then I quit after 8 seconds. So it's you have people as fast as you, and then I remember Michael Strahan saying that he can clock Eli Manning with a sundial, and I get that too. It's just you. Okay, you were listed. You're 5'8". Let me see. What were you? What was your weight during your high school days?
I was about 155, 160.
And you still put up that many yards.
Yeah, I mean, well, by the time my senior year got around there, it was pretty easy for me. The game slowed down. I mean, I always played fast, but the more experience I got as a starter, you know, the easier it became for me. Because I mean, I worked out every day, 7 days a week when nobody else is working. In off season, I didn't take no days off. So for me, pretty much, I had something to prove. I had a pretty decent, junior year and sophomore year. Just still had like 18 touchdowns junior year, but 18 or 15. But I just knew I wanted to do some bigger and better.
Did you set out to be a running back, or was that where you were put?
I mean, I've been playing running back since started playing football in the seventh grade.
Was it because
Um,
of your size, or do you think because of how fast you were, or is that where they put you and
but
you
I was
just
naturally just fast. I mean, I didn't even stretch before I run. I don't stretch before I run. I prefer to be tight. Um, that's just I've always been fast. It's just like genetics, I guess. I don't know.
the genetics is not something to mess around with, folks. It can make you fast or slow like me. I mean, either way, you were you all right. Let me say it like this. There's the Derrick Henry type runner, one hole, boom.
Mhm.
Then you have the Barry Sanders. Of course, you probably modeled yourself after him in a lot of ways because of size, but he was more cut. Boom, boom. He would see the holes. How would you describe your running style?
Uh, ooh, I've I watched a lot of Reggie Bush. I watched a lot of Anthony Thomas.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Favorite running back out of them all is why I picked 25 is Shady. Sean, um, him and Brian Westbrook. I'm an Eagles fan, so those were my guys. But them, and then I say the person that as I got older, who I modeled my game after, like sophomore year and all that stuff, is probably Chris Johnson.
Oh
Um,
my goodness. Now, by the way, I just gave away my age. The person that I go back to when it comes to the maneuverability like you had and have, as far as I know. Can you still do it, you think?
Still play?
Can you still do what you did back then, or is it more like give me a couple minutes, let me get going again?
Uh, yeah, if I need to run, I mean, I don't think I've never, I mean, my body's just like that. I'm a little older now, but I could probably crank out about a 4 or 5.
Oh, see, again, modesty. He's kind of granted modesty here, you know?
I
No,
mean, I don't stay out of shape. I pretty much stayed active doing like
well, when you
work.
came walking in, I say, all right, this dude is Jack. He is there. And I was like, well, I can't recognize. Oh, I know exactly who he was, and especially when he said his name. Um, but when I said Barry Sanders, Brian, it was when I remember you running in Vanderbilt, and you had a lot of, for lack of a better word, you had a lot of wiggle. You had a lot of wiggle, and that's how. But when you bring it up Shady and you bring it up Chris Johnson, and I have a picture somewhere around here. I got to meet Eddie George. That was a highlight of my life there for a while. I wanted to meet him, but when my son was younger, we went to Tennessee Titans had something up at Brentwood, and I got to meet Chris Johnson. That guy there, he wasn't very tall, he wasn't very big,
Yeah,
but you
he's
can look at his thighs. I thought that's where it comes from. And if you modeled your game after Chris Johnson, you're modeling your game after one of the greats.
yeah.
I remember him East Carolina, if I remember correctly. The Titans, Jeff Fisher got him close to the end of the first round. I can't remember. I think 30 or 31. And people wondered, why did you get him? Well, I remember I was at a game once and he broke one tackle and
No,
all you see was a trail of dust.
Mhm.
And I remember that a lot about you playing in Vanderbilt, that you break one tackle and it's good. I mean, you were gone.
Yeah, the most important thing, man, is like why I really modest my game after him. I'm the speed, and he's a one cutback too. You know, once he put his feet in the ground, pretty much like he said, he gone. You put me on the safety, just that's all she wrote. You know,
Do you okay. And I'm messing, guys. This guy is a modest guy. He's just telling us what it is. This is fun for me to hear people like him with talent and love for the game tell about how good he is. I like that. This is what I wanted. Thank you for doing that. Uh, you say you're one cut back.
mhm.
How important is it for a running back? Okay, let's put it like this. Trent Richardson. You remember Trent Richardson? Great running back for Alabama. Didn't do so hot with Cleveland or Indianapolis. Didn't have the vision. How hard is it, or how important is it for running back to have vision?
It is extremely hard. I'll say the hardest thing for me though, when I got to college, wasn't the vision; it was the patience because I was faster than everybody.
Oh,
You know,
you had to wait for the blocks to develop.
yeah, and like it was a couple plays when I first got there. I mean, I would hit the hole so fast, I'll be in front of like the pulling guard. So coach was like, "You got to slow down." I said, "I'm just so used to playing fast. It's either there or it's not." You know.
Was that what you did? Were you able in at Memphis to make up as you go?
Yeah, I mean, I was able to because the blocking ain't always great in high school. You know, the better athletes always typically come out on top. And with my speed, if you're in front of somebody, you could just get there. I mean, I could work off you. I could read hats really well. So when I got there, and then I got with Coach Donovan, he kind of taught me how to be patient and slow things down. It was a little, you know, iffy in the beginning because I was just used to doing my thing and just kind of warming up to, kind of playing behind Z my first year. Um, so that was all new for me as well. So just trying to learn that, and then everybody tell you if I was the one to take all the reps at practice. So if you don't want to go, I'll take them.
Well, you have to. SEC football is insane, isn't it? So you go from Memphis. What in Tennessee? There's one double A, two double A, that sort of stuff. What was that? What was your designation there in Memphis?
We were at 3A school, but we played all 5A schools on my schedule.
And you still, if let me see what it says here. You still ended up 7-4,
Hmm.
and you're a big part of that.
Yeah, we didn't play any teams in our division until we got to the playoffs, and I didn't play in the playoffs. That's why we lost to Jalen's Reed and Maven. But
But
um,
you're almost Mr. Football too.
hmm
See, the way your career ended up, and I want everybody to hear this, because if I remember what you were telling me correctly, and if I'm wrong, please correct me. You probably had a lot of offers to go other places, didn't you?
I end up having a total of 55 scholarship offers.
Oh, just 55.
Mhm.
55. Can you tell me, because if you can't, that's fine, but can you tell me some of the names of the places that you could have gone to?
Alabama, Ohio State, when Urban Meyer had just got the job.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Yeah.
him. I had Mississippi State, Cincinnati, everybody in the SEC pretty much besides LSU and Florida, but Florida had just signed Duke Johnson. Um,
Yeah, they were
Mi-
good.
Miami. I meant Miami, not Florida, but they had just signed what's the big running back with the dreads? I'm sorry.
Oh,
Um,
I know who you're talking about.
yeah.
Was it Green? No.
No, I'm talking. He a big back though.
Yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about. I can't remember.
I had pretty much everybody in the SEC, from Ole Miss to, I had Oregon. Oregon was just too far, but they
That,
probably fit in what I did the best. Them and
that would have been a drive.
yeah, and I had Auburn. Auburn was in my top five. UT, of course, but we had top talk about them.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. We're good. We're good. You had, now this is a leading question because I think you know where I'm going with this. You had 55 schools,
Mhm.
football schools, Alabama, Ohio State, Cincinnati's developing. You had Auburn, and you picked who?
Vanderbilt.
All right. If I remember correctly, again, if I'm wrong, there was one main purpose behind, there was one reason behind that. One
Mhm.
main guy. One main guy. Who was that?
James Franklin.
If you do not know who James Franklin is, something tells me, Brian, you would have ran through a brick wall for that man.
Correct.
He is currently the coach for Penn State. He's done pretty decent for himself. I'd say he's done pretty decent. But for how many years? I remember Bobby Johnson left. I think that's when they got Franklin. I think, well, how many years was it? 3 or 4 years that he was there?
He was there 3 years. He
He
was
was
there
there 3 years.
year before, and then 2 more years afterwards.
He is one of the guys that I'm convinced that if he could have stayed, Vanderbilt may not have been top tier like Alabama because of just the facilities and things like that. But he would have been constantly, you would probably be in the 9-10 wins every year just because of James Franklin. Because if he can recruit somebody as talented and as good as you from Memphis, now that's what you were talking about. Well, okay, go ahead. Go ahead and explain it. If you remember what we talked about that Monday, Franklin went to Vanderbilt typically recruits from a different area. James Franklin brought different recruits from a different area, and the team and the culture benefited from that. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
I'll say that he recruited people in inner cities that might be borderline, have the grades, but can have the work ethic and can come in and do the work, and put people on probationary periods and make sure that we get all our study hall hours. I mean, he just controlled everything that we pretty much did to make sure that we were going to be successful even without football. That was the most important thing for him, is that outside of football, what are you going to be, as a man? So I think that's why a lot of people respect him in general, because he prioritized, us getting our education on top of, like, being good at sports and learning how to network. For example, the networking thing, he would go around the school, nobody was coming to the games for real. He would go around to the schools and make all the students come to the games. So that's why a lot of our games were sold out, because he would get a lot of the students to come to the game and tell them to bring their parents, and like we were winning. So
Yeah.
I think it just shows the leadership and the grit that he had as a man to put his pride to the side and go out there and actually intertwine with the people and mingle and build a culture there. So he can't tell us one thing and then he's not going out there to do it. So it's just,
Well, okay. Let me explain something, because Brian came about. You came about Bobby Johnson. Now I have here in my hand coins. This one I think you're very familiar with.
Mhm.
Music City Ball. I think you're very familiar with that one.
Mhm.
This one right here, 2008, Brian. I have been a Vanderbilt fan for probably for as long as I can remember, probably since 83, 84. Somebody gave me a Vanderbilt fan. I was 5 years old and I wore it. And after that, I have been to several games. I went to a game where they played Alabama. Somebody said, "You want a ticket?" Sure. There might have been a section with black and gold and everything else is crimson. Vanderbilt football has been the bottom tier football for a very long time. The culture changed. Bobby Johnson did an amazing job. Coach Franklin did an incredible job. Derek Mason did a pretty good job. And he goes on down the line. The coach now is, man, that Missouri game Saturday. That Missouri game Saturday was something else.
Yeah.
But
Come to the TV, I was mad.
oh no, I think we talked right after that, didn't we? And
Yeah.
I could tell in your voice that you had a night, didn't you?
Man.
But you see, it takes people like you and Coach Franklin and people committing to a team that has been the laughing stock for years to make it powerful and make it strong. And that's not only a testament to Coach Franklin, that's a testament to you and your teammates. Now I have a coin here. I was at this game. I was at the North Carolina State Vanderbilt Music City Bowl. I went to 2 of them. I wanted to go to the one in Memphis. Were you at that one in Memphis?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I wanted to go out there, but I wasn't able to go. One thing I remember about that is one of the coldest games I've ever been to. It was raining.
Yeah.
And I remember walking up there, I had my black and gold on. The game actually 2008 was the coldest game I've ever been to. I was only able to make it to halftime. I was like, this is too much. That one was even colder in a lot of ways. Even at Nashville, where Vanderbilt is located, it still had more fans than North Carolina State had more fans than Vanderbilt. Sad. But if I remember that the offense and defense, y'all put on a show that day. It was a great game. Do you remember anything about that game that you're able to share with us?
Yeah, man. I mean, it was back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. We just the most important thing about the game is just like we never wavered on, like our confidence never wavered during the game. We knew we were gonna beat them. But we just had to stay and continue to play. Because the thing about our team, like you're not gonna outplay us. You're not gonna outgrid us. Um, and our offensive line wasn't the biggest, but they were nasty. Um, and we all played for each other. Everybody held each other accountable. But for me, man, that game was. I know that game. I had a long kick return that game.
Yeah, 52 yards.
Yeah, and for us, man, we just tried to make sure that we stayed level headed and stay together, and the rest was history.
All right. You are so full of knowledge and I'm loving this, buddy. I'm loving this. Thank you for coming on. It's just neat to pick your brain here. Kickoff returns. How different are they than running, starting 7 yards back? How different are they?
Uh, Very different. On the trajectory of the ball, the way it's coming. You have to look up and you don't know where they're coming from, so you're having to transition from one to the other. Especially if you're not getting a running start. It's very different as opposed to when you get in the ball. My eyes up, I can see everybody coming, and I can if somebody's bust through the line or there's a busted play, I could just jump cut, boom, back to the other side of the field, or or lower my pad and protect myself. Sometimes in kick returns, you can't see them out the naked eye from the side, but everything
You ever
pretty much.
been you ever been lit up on a kick return?
Oh yeah, I've been lit up. I'll admit, man, that I need. And the crazy thing about it is Channing Ward, man, that's like my one of my friends. So I was just like, oh man, that's how you was feeling today. But you let those type of things. It's football. I'm just blessed to be able to get up and walk away from it. And live to see next week. I played the next week, so I'm happy about that.
Now, something tells me a kickoff return is a little bit different than a punt return due to where you're located and you're having a chance to set up.
Correct.
Did you ever do a lot of punt returns?
No, I didn't do no punt return. That was out of my expertise.
You were smart enough not to do it.
Yeah, because I wasn't fair catch. That's just, I wasn't fair catch at all. I would just take it and try to make a play out of everything. But
All right. So again, man, this is fascinating to me. Did you run a lot of triple option?
I did not. I ran a pro style offense in high school.
Really? Oh, well, of course, he was national champion in Miami. That would be the
Clinton Portis.
golly. That guy was insane. He was so good, Clint Portis. So that was from the 90s.
99 to 2002, I want to say.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I'm trying to remember that wasn't Gino Toretta. That would be good night. Who was it? I can see his face.
What's the coach name that was there? Real famous coach.
Well, if only I had a computer that could tell me that. Let's see. Yeah, like that might be neat to have. Let's see, coach.
or was it 2000? Was it from 1998 to 2001, 2001, somewhere in there?
Butch Davis, yeah, who
What's
coached
Davis?
for he ended up coaching for the Browns when they got back into the league. And I think right now, it might be wrong on this. Is he in North Carolina? I don't know, but Butch Davis, I remember his offense.
Still coaching somewhere.
No, North Carolina, excuse me, that is Mac Davis. That is the guy from Texas. Yeah. Yeah, so if Butch Davis was you would have had a pro style offense to run because
Hmm.
he was very much pro style, especially with that type of the weapons he had down there. So
So
it's one cut go.
yeah, and he you don't like we'll run Mike lead every play of the game to get me going. So the first play of the game, every play Mike lead. We're gonna get it straight going today. So tipping isn't like a, we straight to business. We right up the middle, first play of the game.
Right up the
So
middle. That
right up the middle.
how much okay, again, we talk about your size. Height doesn't matter. You're built for the position that you're playing.
Mhm.
Once you got a little bit more weight on you, you probably could tell the difference in your speed and your strength, couldn't you?
Yeah, the credit to the White Galt, man. That staff was awesome.
At Vanderbilt or
Yeah, Vanderbilt, their staff was awesome, man. The strength staff was really good.
so you probably could withstand a lot more punishment than you could in high school.
Yeah, I mean, I came in pretty strong, but when I got there, man, I was pretty strong.
If yeah, what I remember seeing you, you were able to shuck off some block or some tacklers. How much faith did you have to have in the five guys in front of you? And if you had a blocking tight end, there's six. Because you had to expect if there was a pulling guard, you had to wait for him to do his job and to hit the hole. How much faith did you have to have in those guys?
Well, I had a lot of faith in my linemen all the time. All the time. I mean, I just tell them, "Hey, get in front of somebody, and I'll make you right." That's all been my motto. And if I miss something, they'll be like, "Hey, Kimbrow, I had him." I was like, "All right, I missed you. Go look at tape. I might have missed something." Like, you know what I mean? So all of that comes from just communicating to what linemen like to do, or how he's going to pull, how he's going to pull up. If we're running a stretch play, how are we gonna, stretch this? Are we stretching this all the way to the end? Hey, be prepared for me to cut backside if I have to. Because I'm gonna see that backside, so if it's there, I'm gonna see it.
That's the thing. You speaking of stretch plays, if you had a guy going to the right and your goal is to eventually go around the tackle
Hmm.
and then you see a hole open up, you would cut through that. Would they
Right.
would they be aware of that before during practice that I might take a cut, or would you practice to go around?
Yeah, that's just my game. In general. Like I said, if I see that one cut and I know I'm fast enough to plant my feet and go, I want to get north and south as fast as I can. Because once I'm north and south, you're not catching me. Um, so that's why a lot of my longer runs came from 10 personnel. Because once
Yeah.
that zone read is spreading, I could put my feet in the ground, and then you put me one on one with a safety, and I could either make a miss or I'm taking it to the house.
Well, somebody like you, the safety don't want to go head on with that. They're going to try to hit you from the side, aren't they? They don't want a head full of you.
Well, I mean, it depends on the safety because Matt Elam gave it to me.
Yeah, that's true. But very few people are the safeties are not built for that. But I've seen, oh, who is it now? There's somebody in NFL that plays safety that is more of a middle linebacker. I can't think of his name, but Troy Polamalu was a linebacker in a safety's body.
Mhm.
People like that, you're like, okay, I get that part, but most of the time safeties are not going to be willing to take a running back head on. They're just not, especially
Right.
with your speed and your strength. They wouldn't want to do that. We are, yeah, I'm enjoying this, Brian. Thank you so much for coming on. This is a lot of fun. You and the time's running down a little bit on this. You are just meeting you that one time and talking to you a little bit. Uh, you are a down to earth guy who is somebody I think would be pretty cool just to talk to for hours on this. And congratulations, he got married a week ago, last Tuesday.
Correct.
Congratulations. That's what he was at Men's Warehouse for. And Men's Warehouse, if you want to sponsor this, just talk to Brian and me. We'll get you sponsored here. Very happy for you. Very, very happy for your situation. I know you're sporting that band like it's not a weight yet. It's pretty good on you, right?
Yeah, I love they know anchor down, man. That's all we stand for over here. Got my hat right here.
Oh my goodness. That's awesome. See, okay. All right. Got that on right now. The V, if you look back when I grew up, Brian, they have progressed. Vanderbilt has progressed in the emblem department. It was not good back in the 80s. It looks so much better now.
Yeah, I'm a Star V guy though. This one's not warming up on me, but Star V, man.
I can handle the Star V. I had stuff around here. I think I had to put them up somewhere. But some of the other stuff they had back in the 80s, you're like, oh my goodness. Well, it's like, when your parents made you wear certain things growing up, you're like, why did I have to wear that? That's the same thing for Vanderbilt back in the 80s. It just didn't look good. Now it looks good. And because of how Vanderbilt really does, every now and then they'll beat a team that they're not supposed to. Several times a year, they'll beat a team they're not supposed to, and they take a team that they're supposed to lose to double overtime. Vanderbilt gets a lot of attention.
Yeah, they do. I mean, we're not. I love what Coach Leah doing. I support him fully. He's a great guy. And you could tell that the guys are actually playing for him, and that's the most important thing. When you could visually see that they are working for him, I think that's important. Especially for alumni, we can see that they're in every game. They're playing hard. The effort's there.
You'll find though, you have the effort, you have the talent. Sometimes games just get away from you. It happens to every team. Games just get away from you. The one Saturday, what was it, a holding penalty that cost the game?
Yeah,
It
man.
happened.
That the kick though, man. He gotta do what Coach Franklin did with his kickers. You gotta make it hard on them.
Yeah. Kickers are people too, but sometimes they're not.
Yeah.
I tell you though, I talked to some Missouri fans and they said y'all gave us some heartburn that day. Now, there are a few games I was looking at the schedule, and we're winding down here. I'm going to let Brian have a last word in just a second. Vanderbilt, I picked Vanderbilt to go, I think, 6-6. The Missouri game was a loss in my book. I still think we can go 5-7, 6-6. I think it can be done. It's just going to have to be what you're saying, put the effort in. And I'd love to see them beat Tennessee at the end of the year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think as long as the effort's there, man, everybody we have a great chance. We lost a couple that we weren't supposed to.
Well,
I don't really speak on it, but
we're not going to speak on that third game.
all right, we're not gonna speak on that one, but
Well,
I do see it progressing.
I do too. Now we got like a couple minutes. I'm reading you and I believe I'm right. Good dude, smart guy, family oriented, loves his team. Could you give us, because this is football's family, I want positivity and you've given me positivity. Can you give me one word of positivity that the listeners here can take and apply to their lives? Just one thing that helped you out.
Resiliency. And I say that because no matter what you go through in life, you have to be resilient and have a positive attitude when you're doing something. I still take the principles with me that Coach Franklin have embedded in us, and that's have a positive attitude, have a positive attitude, a great work ethic, compete in everything you do, and must be willing to sacrifice for the team. Those are the 4 principles that I walk with me every day. Because it's gotten me so far, and that's something that I take pride in. That's what I would say.
Thank you. This was a lot of fun, and I appreciate you coming on today. You're a good guy. Thank you for dealing with me. Thank you for answering my texts and calling me. And I think we have to end in this, Brian. Anchor down.
Anchor down. I just want to say thank you for having me on your platform. It was a pleasure. Like I said, anytime I get the chance to speak to a fan or talk to someone or anyone that might need help to us, this is important to me, because I'm raising my son to be a Vandy fan. So, I try to make sure that I'm always good to people and I treat people the way I want to be treated, no matter what the scenario may be.
That's the read I had on you. I mean, to be honest, I have talked to, and I'm not naming names, not that big of a deal, but I've talked to people who are players or former players that would push me away. I'm a nerd. I'm a fanboy. I admit it. I didn't want to bother you, but you talked to me. You called me back. You texted me. That's who you are. And that's the type of man that I'm very proud to know right now. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I never tell nobody I'm gonna do something and don't do it. I'm a man of my word. And your word is everything as a man.
That's what you are. Thank you, Brian, very much.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank y'all for listening.
Hey there, sports history fan. This is Arnie Chapman, aka the Football History Dude, and I hope that you enjoyed this recent episode presented by the Sports History Network and were able to learn some good old-fashioned sports history knowledge nuggets. I started the Sports History Network back in 2020 with the mission to help podcasters find a community of like-minded sports history nerds, as well as helping aspiring podcasters to start their own shows. We have a little bit over 30 shows on the network right now covering all sorts of sports history, but as far as I'm concerned, we're just at the toothpick in the ocean moment, that can't even figure it out because there's so much more coming. We wanted to create the ultimate headquarters for sports yesteryear, starting with Podcast Network and our website, but we're going to continue to move into other mediums as well. And here's the cool part, because we want you to be part of our team. So if you're interested in starting your own podcast, or maybe being a guest on one of our shows, or who knows, maybe even writing an article for us over on the website. Seriously, all you gotta do is reach out to us on the contact page over at sportshistorynetwork.com. You can be as technologically savvy as a Neanderthal tapping on a stone trying to figure out this whole hieroglyphics thing back in the day. Again, it doesn't matter, because even if you don't understand the whole podcast space, we have a production team that can pretty much help you out with doing everything. All you gotta do, head over to sportshistorynetwork.com, head to the contact page, fill it out. That message goes right to me, and I'll reach out to you as soon as I can. But for now, dude, I'm through if you're through.